All right, and we are live. Welcome everybody to the 24-Hour Marketing Mastermind. We are so glad that you joined us. We've got a really special hangout today. We have none other than a multiple six-figure earner with us, and she is going to be sharing with us her story. But before we get into that, we just want to go over our panelists. If you're new here and you want to know who we are, my name is Dave. I live in South Africa. And, we help people on the internet who would like to start their own business online. And we have our very own Miss Katie Stage on here. Katie, why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hey, everybody. You can see that I'm in a very luxurious outdoors setting. So actually, this is just a painting. But anyways, yeah, that's my backdrop for now. I'm actually visiting my sister right now, helping her out while her babysitter is having a baby. And I think that's really important for my sister because for me to be online, to be able to do that for my sister, I'm able to have that time to help her out. So I think that's amazing. So that's good. Back to you in the studio.
And of course, we don't have Katie's dad with us, Pops, because he's gone to help his brother with the deck. And I think he had to go somewhere, but he's really sorry he couldn't make it. So we do miss him very much. And so Pops, if you're watching, we call him our wisdom keeper. And, so he's very special to us.
Yes.
And then, of course, we have Mr. Jamie Shaw, who just celebrated his 50th and got the coolest gift ever, I got to say.
Yeah, it was Saturday was my 50th birthday, then Father's Day on Sunday, but I got a really cool gift. I got people showing up at my house, so the dogs are going nuts. But anyway, Captain of the United States Air Force took United States flag and flew it over the battlefield in Kandahar, Afghanistan, because my son was in Kandahar, Afghanistan since May, and it was a really cool and honorable thing to have happen. And I'm going to mute because my dogs are going nuts.
Cool thing. And, with regards to things happening, usually when I get online about this time, sometimes the power goes out. But in this case, for a whole day, we've had no water in the house because the pipe broke. And so we've been without water the whole day. And that's kind of a problem. But it came on recently, so everything's back to normal. I was able to take a shower, and things are back to the way it was. My internet connection isn't entirely fixed, but that will become fixed soon. But today, what we want to do is we want to introduce to you somebody very, very special, all right? She is a multiple six-figure earner. Her name is April Marie Tucker. And if you don't know who that is, get out of the rock you're living under. Because she is one of the most influential people with regards to teaching people how to start and run their own businesses. She's also known as the Instagram Queen. I know that she was raised in Traverse City, Michigan, and she's had very humble beginnings. And one of the reasons we want her to come on and tell us her story is because she's very much involved with the people she helps. She's a servant leader. I know that helping people or supporting and guiding people is very much in her makeup. And, I want her to share with us her story and how she got started. Because I know that a lot of people who are watching this and perhaps watching the replay are in a very similar position where they're either like in a position where they're almost homeless, like April was, and dire straits, and they would love to know how to actually make this happen. So without further ado, I want to introduce April Marie Tucker. The floor is yours. Why don't you share with us how you got started, a bit from where you're from, and how you actually got involved with the network marketing industry.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Dave, and happy birthday, Jamie. It's a 50th birthday. That's a big one. That's a good one. That's a good one, right? And just to break the ice, I'm going to go ahead and put on my nose. No, I'm just kidding. I'm also really funny, just so you guys know. No, I'm just kidding. I think I'm funny. Anyways, how did I start? Well, I started like anybody else. I just got started. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, my story is actually, I know a lot of people love it when I share my story. To me, it's like, of course, when I say my story over and over again, it's like, oh, my story. Okay. But I know that this call is all about inspiring other people. And here's one thing that I know: success leaves clues, and you could share. I mean, I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing how they got started. I love hearing all about their success and the success they're having, because I know that success leaves clues. And I know there's a tremendous amount of, nuggets in those stories. So of course, I'm always thrilled to share my story. So basically, I got started back in 2010. It was a cocktail server. If you guys don't know what that is, I basically run around a casino and I yell cocktails with a heavy tray in a bustier, high heels. And I did it 10 hours a night. I still have pain from that job. In fact, I still have nightmares that sometimes wake me up, and I sometimes think I'm back in that job, and it just definitely wasn't a very good place in my life. Although it was a better place than where I was before actually I started that job, because I was pretty much almost homeless. I remember being pretty much in a spot where I wasn't sure where I was going to live, a single mom of 3. And we ended up actually moving to Illinois from Georgia. When I moved to Illinois, that's when I got the job at the casino, a different casino this time. And I started working there. And when we moved there, I actually had the pleasure of moving into a neighborhood that a block away, somebody was murdered and shot and killed. And, that's kind of was like, where I was, So we were living in a little 2-bedroom apartment. All 3 of my children shared a bedroom. And, I actually felt, I guess I would say didn't feel like I was that miserable at the time, because like I said, I was almost homeless before. So I felt very blessed to even have the place that I had to live. And I've always been very grateful and feel very blessed. And I'm always counting my blessings. I always am, because that's really, I wouldn't make it as far as I have in my life and even come close to where I'm at in today if I didn't always be so grateful and just always be focused on what I have instead of what I don't, right? So just to kind of backtrack even further, just so you guys know, I dropped out of high school twice. I have about an 8th grade education. So I literally only completed the 8th grade. I was pregnant at the age of 17. So life at that time, it was kind of what the track that I was on, right? I was on that track. I was on food stamps. I was on Medicaid and welfare. And I was introduced to a network marketing opportunity, actually through the job I was working at. One of my customers introduced it to me, and I decided to take it seriously. At first, I didn't want anything to do with it, but I finally woke up to the reality that I was pretty miserable, and I really didn't have another way out. I didn't see myself going back to college or starting a new job or profession even. As a cocktail server, only had an 8th grade education, so didn't see myself doing any of that. So I decided to give it a shot. And, like most network marketers, what do? We run into brick walls and fall flat on our faces. And, I did the whole chasing family friends bit for a minute. I didn't do it very long. I saved a lot of face there. But I wasn't having any success. It came online. I felt like the internet was the only way I was actually going to succeed. I do see the internet as a portal for people now these days, because back in old school days when we didn't have the internet, we didn't have smartphones and all that stuff, what did people have to do? Like a mom like me would have had to cart all her kids around, go mauling it, asking everybody to join her business, and that wouldn't have been any fun, because that's just not fun when you got crying kids, and my kids were little. So that wasn't an option for me. So that's why I decided to come online. Actually, I started doing some little things like, if you guys have ever heard of traffic exchanges, have any of you guys ever heard of those traffic exchanges? Okay, well, I started doing those. Just clicking for credits one night, and actually it wasn't one night. It was one day I got out of work. I got out of work at 7 a.m. So I was home in bed, because I went from 8 o'clock at night until about 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm laying in bed, and I would always come home and I'd work a little bit on my business, because, if my business didn't, if nobody worked it, it wasn't going to grow, right? So I sit there and clicking for credits while I was falling asleep. And here comes this ad that says, Facebook is a cash cow. And I'm like, what? So I didn't have a Facebook. I probably only had a computer for about 2 years. I never had a computer before that. So I'm copy paste girl. Like clicking for credits was definitely my thing. Okay. I could actually do that. So I'm like, Facebook is a cash cow. I had opened up a Facebook account probably like a year before that, but I like saw it and was like, oh, this is too crazy for me. And I never went back and never logged back in. So I heard of Facebook. Every one of my friends kept telling me to come on Facebook, but I never thought about growing my business there. So I decided to, even though everything inside of me said, don't click on it or don't opt in, just keep clicking for credits, stay focused on clicking for credits. I was like, oh, but it's a free training. So I said, okay, I'll find out if it's really for free. So I opted in. Lo and behold, it really was free. So I'm going through this training and I'm listening to everything. And the whole time the light bulbs are going off. And then all of a sudden I fall asleep. Next day, that day I woke up because, I just got out of work, remember? So I woke up and it was probably like 3 o'clock. I have to get ready for work, but that is what's on my mind. I'm like, I'm growing my business on Facebook. So I actually ran downstairs. I told my partner, Jeff, I said, Jeff, I found this system. I found these tools. I found this training. I'm going to get rich on Facebook. So guys, backtrack too, just so you guys know, if you guys ever remember like MySpace, who remembers MySpace? Is it still around? I don't even know. So I had done some really silly things. So before I found Facebook and in this training, I just want to stop and tell you the story because it's kind of funny too. So I'm on MySpace, right? And I was trying to do some social media marketing, but what I was trying to do was run ads to everyone and no target audience, no nothing, no capture page. So all the things that we, some people know that we need, not everybody knows. I didn't know. I thought, well, I had this MLM company that it was for the immune system. Okay. So it had a lot of science and science-based product. And it was really like people would go to this website and they would have no clue what any of that meant. Like, that's what I was marketing, the website. I really thought people would just buy these products because I was that person that, thought that everybody would just, the products would sell themselves and everybody would just buy them because I was really that ignorant to that. So if you do think that your products in your MLM or your company are going to sell themselves, they will absolutely not sell themselves. Okay. The company wouldn't need you if they did sell themselves. And that's the bottom line. So figured that one out really quick. But guess what? I ended up spending like $2,500 in MySpace ads to figure that hard lesson out. So at the time, I just want you to see the mindset I was in, because my mindset was, I lost all this money. I've never made money in my business. All I'm doing is spending money. It's becoming a money spending business, not a money making business by any means. And I'm having a really, really hard time. Okay. So I'm at the point where I'm about to just say, forget it. That's where I'm at. I'm clicking for credits because I'm trying to do it the cheap way, because I figured out that spending a lot of money on your business wasn't really working. It was not making me any money. So, because I didn't know what I was doing, right? So the Facebook training, I went in there and I started going through it. Jeff, told me he knew about this system that I was talking about, which was MLSP, if you guys don't know that. And I was like, you know about this and you didn't tell me about it. Well, apparently he'd been involved for about 6 months, a year or something, and never told me that he was even a part of this. So I had no idea, but he didn't even have any idea. He just had a membership and he didn't really look at it. And back then, guys, things were a lot different. Like blog setup and all this stuff was so much more complicated. Like we really got it made now these days. It's so much easier to grow your brand and build your business online. I do majority of my business today on my phone. Okay. Back then I had a BlackBerry and it was really, really, really difficult. Okay. And that was actually a nice phone for those times. So a lot different back then. So I decided to get started in MLSP. I started with him. And he said, I'll send you a link. So I got in and I decided that, I was going to treat it like school. To me, I never went to school. I thought, well, this could be my education, right? Because it's an education platform. This is where I'm going to learn how to grow my business, how to generate leads. I'm going to buckle down and I'm going to get serious. And I was like, watch me. I am going to be a millionaire. I even told the girls at the casino and they used to laugh their butts off at me. I said, watch me. I am going to come back in here and I'm going to tip you real good. Watch me, So I just was so bound and determined. But the problem that I had with MLSP in the beginning, to be honest with you, is it was I pulled out my hair a lot. You know, it wasn't the easiest thing. It really was school. I had a lot of learning lessons, and it wasn't the easiest thing in the beginning for me because I had copy paste skills. That was it. I never went to school. I didn't even know how to type. This stuff was all foreign language. In fact, I remember a friend of mine said to me, he goes, April, you know, you should probably get a blog, because he's into this stuff. Like I signed him up in the MLSP, but he knew way more than I did. I just happened to find him on Facebook and sign him up because I followed the Facebook training, you know. So I signed people up. But he's like, you should get a blog. And I said, well, I didn't want to tell him I don't know what a blog is. So I Googled, what is a blog? Literally, I Googled, what is a blog? Because I didn't want to tell him that I didn't really know. And then I come back to him and say, oh, yeah, I think I should have one of those. And he's like, yeah, they have training in MLSP. You should check it out. I'm like, okay. So I went back there and I started setting up my blog. And that was when I really started getting serious about things. I set up my blog because then I realized now I'm really in this pretty thick, right? I'm pretty much in this. I mean, I set up a blog. Now I'm like, man, I'm pretty cool. My blog looked really bad, by the way. It looked pretty crazy. I ended up actually investing into somebody to do my blog for me. You know, but over the years I learned how to do that. A lot of people don't know this, but I was in the beginning, I was Facebook and blogging. That's it. Video. I did video on Facebook and I did blogging. And the majority of everything I built was from that base. Instagram came later. Instagram came 4 years ago now. I think it's been 3-4 years ago. And I've almost been doing this now, 9 years. So, you know, it's definitely been a journey. And I think if anything that anybody can learn from me is that, you know, success takes time. You got to learn this stuff. Like, this stuff isn't going to happen overnight. That's why I think it is really important that you either get a mentor or you get a system with training and mentors or whatever. You plug in with something or someone and you learn this stuff. You got to learn these skill sets. And I think what really set me apart from a lot of people in the industry in general was that I really did. I came in there and I said, this is my school. This is school. I'm treating this like school, and I am going to get an education because I wasn't going to, I mean, to me, I literally just got off the phone with somebody and I said to him, you know, I said, you know what MLSP gave me is they gave me a master's degree in marketing. That's what I got. Right. And that's what I really did. I got that because now I've been able to do some amazing things. And a lot of people don't, you know, even back when, people that know me from way back when, remember I was on, you know, food stamps, welfare, all this stuff, right? Single mom 3, you know, people didn't respect me. They didn't have influence. But now, you know, I've been able to change my life, and I've changed the whole trajectory of my whole entire family's life because, you know, the cycle repeats. And this is what I always say to single moms too, because I have a passion for single moms. But you know, you got a family, you got these kids looking at you right now. And when you give up, you're showing them how to give up. You know, you're showing them that they're not important enough to you for you to keep going. See, for me, I would have done anything for my kids. It didn't matter. Like, what was really hard, I always tell people choose their hard. Because what was really hard was leaving them with a babysitter while I ran around and yelled cocktails, got hit on by drunk gamblers. That was really hard. Okay. What isn't hard is staying focused, buckling down, and actually doing something with your life and with their lives. Because that's what I've been able to do. I have a beautiful life and beautiful kids. And it's just, you know, I owe a lot to God, obviously, but it really is. I never gave up. And I always tell people that's where it all boils down to. I didn't give up. I stood the test of time. There's been a lot of roadblocks. There's been a lot of things that have happened in my life and in my business. And, you know, I just got sick this year, really sick, like really sick. I've been sick, and people probably notice I've been laying low. And, you know, a lot of people would have been like, I'm giving up. You know, not me. I've already enrolled 3 customers this month in my business. I'm going strong, you know, and I've just had surgery. It's not about that for me. It's about the journey, right? It's about the long road ahead. It's the journey. And you got to embrace that journey. You can't give up on little things and happen in your life. And I always look at little things. You know, I like to share the story of when I launched InstaLead Magic and kind of give you a glimpse of what that really took, because it was the biggest year in my business, but it was hardest year in my business. It was the hardest year in my life, practically. 3 grandparents passed away. I literally was burying my grandmother the day we launched Insta Lead Magic. And I'm not saying, you know, do what I did or anything like that. But what I am saying is that when you're going through the hard times, when things are really, you know, maybe seem impossible in your business, that's the time to keep continuing to work your business, to do it, not the time to let up on the gas pedal and backtrack and stop or quit. Or those are the times when you need to, because it is those moments. Those are tests. I really believe that, because I've gone through so many tests in my own business, and every single test has brought me that much higher in my business, right? And success, right? And I've been able to impact that much more people because I continued on. And that was one of the things that I remember in the back of my mind, because I remember Brian said, you were still on, are you sure you want to still launch, you know? And I'm like, yes, I'm not going to let these people down. Like, I am going to launch Insta Lead Magic. I know I'm going to help a lot of people doing that. And I know that, you know, the forces of evil is what I call them, are always trying to stop you when you are going to impact a lot of lives and you're going to help a lot of people. And I knew that's what was happening, right? Because I mean, I had so many things, so many odds, so many things were happening even that day that were like almost making it impossible. Like even my internet wasn't working that day. It just was like one thing after the other. And I just knew that I was going to impact a lot of people. I kept thinking to myself, you're going to impact so many people. You cannot let this stop you. Figure it out, figure it out, figure it out. And so I just did, you know, and I went on there and I even went on the webinar and I said, you know, this is to my grandma, you know, she just passed away and I'm doing this for her, you know. So it you know, when things are tough and you know, we're all going to have them. You're going to have them, especially in your journey. You're going to have those moments, but those are what's going to make you stronger. And that's what's going to, you know, you're going to stand the test of the time, just like I did. And it's going to take you to that next level every single time. So never, ever give up. There's just no other thing I can say. I always say this to people, just don't give up. Just keep going. No matter what, just keep going. So that's pretty much my story. I'm here. I'm kicking. I'm living the dream.
I got to say, I mean, what you're saying is 100% true. I remember my original mentor, Ryan, kept on saying the same thing to me. He kept on saying, it's just around the corner. It's just around the corner. It's just around the corner. And I kept on, you know, it was almost driving me nuts, but he just kept on saying, I got to keep on working. And that is the key. It's just, even when things look absolutely bleak, you got to keep on working. You know?
Never stop. Never stop. It actually is when the going gets tough, you got to get tougher. You really do. You just, seriously, I see so many people, they stop, they throw in the towel right when things are just about to get good. And I'm always like, man, right around the corner, you know, they're 3 feet from gold. I love that story because it is true. You're always 3 feet away from gold. And, you know, Napoleon Hill, I mean, that is the best story ever. Napoleon Hill, if you haven't read that story, I mean, it's really great. And I always think back to that. I'm like, you're 3 feet away from gold. Just keep going. Just don't stop. You know, you'll figure it out. If you got to take a break, go ahead and take a break. Rest. Go ahead. But just keep going. So you could see, I mean, that year, 3 grandparents died. It was still the most successful year in my business. I made leaps and bounds that year. I crossed the 6-figure mark. I made such huge leaps and bounds that year, and it was worth it, you know, and I knew my grandparents were looking down at me and they were smiling. They were so happy, you know.
Tell me something, April, when, you know, I was watching some of your videos in preparation for this hangout. And, you know, one of the things I came across is one of the things you did when you made a video for your Facebook, you would mention people in your videos. You would say a person's name, somebody who had commented on your video, and then you would tag them. And the only reason I mention this is because I remember one of the things I did when I first got started is every lead that I got, every new lead that I got into my business, I would make a personal video to them. I would do something that made me stand out from the rest. I was just wondering if you could speak to that a bit about standing out, because you need to stand out as a leader.
Yeah. Yeah, not even just in your marketing, just in your leadership in general. I mean, people remember how you made them feel before they remember anything you say. Like you probably saw my videos. My videos weren't even that great, you know. I mean, some people might think they're good if they're new, but I mean, sometimes I look back and I'm like, they're a little embarrassing, you know. But the thing is that I was giving people shout outs, and I was doing something different that most people weren't. Like, I was shining light on other people. What a lot of people do when they're doing their marketing, they market in scarcity mindset. So something that I even do with a lot of my leaders on my team is we're giving shout outs all the time. I mean, we're shouting everybody out, you know, and really raising everybody up. And what a lot of times people do is, I think that it's a mindset thing, right? A scarcity mindset where people are afraid to mention other leaders or say anything about anybody else publicly because it might take away from them or whatever, you know? So that is usually what I see people do. So just know, and this is something that I had to work on in the beginning. Not so much that, because for me, I was a little, just so you know, I was very self-conscious back then. And so for me, it was a lot easier to shine the light on other people rather than shine the light on myself. So for me, it was okay. But, you know, think of ways that might be holding you back right now. Like, I see people all the time, they think so scarce in their mindset, right? They think in terms of lack, or they think in terms of, you know, competition, you know, or they're looking at the other leaders and they're saying, oh, why is that not happening for me? And I hate them, you know, you know, they're like that, right? I mean, people they can be really cruel. And, you know, and that's why I say be cheering everybody on. That really comes down, that's not to help them, that's to help you get over yourself. Because when you're holding yourself back by thinking like that, right? So I think when you are doing that, when you're just brightening people's day, you're sending videos and you're setting yourself apart. But what are you doing to raise other people up and be selfless and thinking in abundance? And always, for me, I'm always thinking like, okay, is that coming from a scarcity mindset, or is that coming from an abundance mindset? Because that's something I've always had to work on. So I'm always thinking that way. And I think when people, you know, sometimes they do hold back, like on their social media, even I see people, sometimes I know people that, like, they're seeing your stuff and they're not commenting, they're not liking, because they think it's, you know, going to take from them or whatever. And really it's hurting them. You know, because if they look at all the exposure they could have got, even just because they keep putting their face out there, you know, it just hurts them in so many ways, and people don't even realize it in their mindset, and it is in their way. So you have to be abundant for sure. And then I think what you're saying is setting yourself apart from what other people are doing. You know, what's gonna be your mark, you know, what's gonna be that one thing. But I think at the end of the day, it's how you make people feel. I mean, sure, we can all say, okay, you know, it's all this fancy marketing and putting your stuff out there and, you know, making yourself different and making yourself stand out. But I mean, to me, I mean, where I'm at today in my life, it's more about how I'm making people feel, you know, and about them, and just being there for them and serving them and helping them. And that's where I've always wanted to be in my business. Although sometimes, even when I was starting, you know, I couldn't because of my mindset, right? But over time, I mean, now I'm still working on mindset. You're always going to be doing that. But now it's like, really, what, you know, it's about them. You know, keep it about them. Keep it about your audience. Keep it about others. Keep it about the people you're serving. And I don't think anybody will ever have a problem if they just do that, you know. Everybody's always like, what's in it for me? You know? And it's like, well, what's in it for Dave? You know? What's in it? What's in it for Katie and Jane, you know, and everybody else, you know?
It's very difficult to get over that, I think. I think there's a definite mind shift that needs to happen. I know that the floodgates for me came over when I became support for somebody else's little company. I became a support person that would help people all the time. And in that process of me helping other people, I gained a lot of support from people. They would follow me because I was helping them all the time. And that certainly has helped. And I think people need to become the support for the world, you know, for people around. If somebody's got a question, you're ready to answer them or to get back to them later. And but you know, speaking on that, you said that you use attraction marketing in your business. Was there a moment where you clicked on attraction marketing when people started to contact you more than you were chasing people?
Yeah, when I started putting content out, and you know, I think for me, my biggest thing, and this is what I've done for so many years, is okay, a couple of things. Okay, the first one is being visible. So it didn't matter, even like, you know, I haven't put out content in a while, and that's just because I've been dealing with my own battles and things with my illness. But I'm still visible. I'm still commenting. I'm still out there, and I'm still visible. You know, I'm still posting things. So even if you can't, you know, doesn't mean you have to be on a live like Dave is or I am at right now. You know, you might not be at that point, but just be out there and stay consistent with that. The other thing is build relationships. This is so key. I mean, I don't have an ulterior motive to check in on somebody and see how they're doing. Or if somebody shows up in my news feed and, you know, all of a sudden I'm like, hey, you know, there's Katie, you know, and I'm like, I just go over and I say, hey, what's going on? You know, just build relationships. You know, I have made a lot of money, but you know what I've mostly made? A lot of friends. A lot of friends. And, you know, all the money in the world, you could just sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to stackpile all this money. I will tell you what, you'll never stackpile all that money until you actually build relationships, because it is truly, your success is in your relationships, and that's the only way. And so, you know, I call it relationship marketing, not so much attraction marketing. I think attracting is good, but relationship marketing, you know, and building relationship, networking, right? I mean, that's what multi-level and network marketing and direct sales, that's what it's about, networking. And so what I've really gotten good about doing is networking every day in my business. So I'm constantly adding to my contact list. My contact list is my social media following. I'm constantly adding new followers. I'm constantly adding new Facebook friends. And as long as I'm constantly doing that, and then I'm reaching out and I'm saying hello, you know, as much as I can, and sometimes people don't even say anything back, then I know they're not my friend. I always tell people I'm not a friend collector, you know. But you know, there's you know, you get busy, and so I always try to give people a benefit of doubt, because I get busy too. You know, people are human, but so I'm not ruthless or anything like that. But you know, because I don't want people to be ruthless with me, because we're all human and we all bleed the same color. So, you know, but really, those are the two things that are really going to, at the end of the day, going to build you a rock solid business. Everybody always says, you know, you can't build a business online. I've heard so many old school multi-level marketers, network marketers, people in the industry say you can't build a real business online. I assure you, you can, and I do it. And I do it through relationship marketing. I do it through networking, through social media. I build a lot of my relationships through Zoom. So you guys are using Google Hangouts. I use Zoom. I get on with people. I spend time with them. So I don't just push a button and I say, okay, here comes the flood of traffic, and they all join my business and they all join whatever it is that I want them to join. No, that does not happen. I'm sorry, it doesn't. But unless you're Diane Hockman, it might happen, but it doesn't usually happen. I built my business, you know, just the same as anybody else, but I work really hard, you know, and I do this. Sometimes, you know, when I first launched with my newest venture, you know, I enrolled a lot of people really fast, and I did do it contacting each person through my phone. So, you know, I did do that. I didn't just say, oh, here we go, open the floodgates, here you go, join us. You know, it didn't work like that. But I will say that because I've spent years building relationships and growing those relationships, that I was able to contact a lot of people and have some rapport with them to where they would trust me enough to say, okay, yes, I'll do this with you. Right. And so that's ultimately where you want to be, you know, and if you are staying focused with your business and you're on that track, you know, just keep growing those relationships and make sure that you keep those relationships, you know, so don't just, you know, bring a bunch of people. You still have to maintain those relationships. And we, you know, we have a really large team now and stuff like that with what we're doing. But you know, one of the ways that we do that is we do things like huddles. You know, we have team huddles, we do lives, we'll go live in our group a lot. I try to reach out individually to all my leaders all the time. I send Christmas gifts. You know, you got to find ways to, well, I guess it is kind of stand out, but just keep those relationships strong. Right. That's the main thing, you know, because it is easy to be like, hey, you know, you're over there in South Africa, Dave, you know, I can't hug you, you know. So we gotta grow a relationship, but we gotta get on a Google Hangout and hang out. And that's a really great way to build a relationship. So I think if there's two things that I could leave you guys with that you should focus on and really make that your ultimate goal. I wake up in the morning and I say, who's going to be my friend today? Like, I'm here to make new friends. Let's do this, you know? And that's kind of how I've always focused my business. And one thing, too, that I know for me has really, when I started doing that, because I didn't at first, because I mean, you know, my MLM taught me recruit them, blah, 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 recruit them all, right? So, you know, for me, when I switched it to making friends, I let go of whether or not my kids are going to eat tomorrow if I didn't sign them up or not. Like, you know, I let go of the outcome, you know, so they say, you know, marry the process, divorce the outcome. That is so true. You want to divorce the outcome because that outcome is going to hold you back. When you sit there, that's that scarcity again, right? I used to do that. That's why I'm bringing it up. I used to sit there and let that hold me back. Like I'd feel like so desperate for somebody to sign up in my business because, hey, you know, I might not be able to feed my kids, right? And instead I switched it to, I'm here to make friends and help people and serve people. And when I did that, and I didn't run around with commission breath like a lot of network marketers do. They run around with commission breath and they are all about signing people up into their business and their check. And I focused on the check of other people and helping other people. That's when things really started to change in my business. That's when everything went like way, way up. In fact, I became the #1 recruiter in my first year with my primary opportunity way back when. And I went from no one, zero, and did that because I made some mindset shifts and I also, you know, focused on the relationships and making new contacts every day through social media on my phone too. And a BlackBerry back then. Not as easy.
Awesome. And, you know, I mean, I know that your time is precious and that you have a training you need to get to. There's a big echo. Is it? Yeah. There's a training that you need to get to. I was just wondering if perhaps maybe Katie or Jamie had some questions that they want to ask you. And while they're perhaps thinking about that, I just wanted to ask you, because you seem like a really, really positive person, somebody who just goes into the world with this amazing energy. How do you deal with the negativity in your life? How is it that, because we all have that, part that we've got to get rid of. How do you deal with it? Or do you just simply ignore it completely?
Hey, we all have our days. I'm not going to lie. I have my days, you know. I was actually diagnosed with lupus a few months ago and I had surgery. And I actually woke up from that surgery and I felt like I was kicked in the teeth like 500 times. And, you know, even my business, there was things going on in that drama. I was like, what? No. You know, I mean, we all bleed. We all bleed. But like I said in the beginning, you know, focus on your blessings. There's days I don't want to get out of bed. You know, when you have a disease or anything like that, you know, there's days you're going to have those days. And, you know, I'm definitely not somebody who doesn't have those days. But what I do decide to do instead, and I believe it is a decision, is how you react to things and how you're really ultimately going to feel is, can you pull yourself out? You know, and if you can pull yourself out and you're going to be fine. You focus on those blessings, focus on the things that you can be grateful for. Those things always turn me around, always turn it around for me, because I focus on the blessings and what I do have and rather than what I don't, you know. And the fact that I'm still breathing air today and, you know, I have a good life. And I mean, there's a lot of people that couldn't afford to even be sick as long as I was. And I've got this thriving business. There's so much for me to be grateful for, especially today. But if I were to look back, and I'm telling everybody this is my new motto in life, like build your residual income while you can, because one day you might not be able to. Look, I literally didn't enroll customers for a few months in my business because I was that sick. I had surgery, I had lupus, I had so many things going on, and we won't even go into all that. But that's why I tell people, look, you don't know when you're not going to be able to build one day. You don't know when you're not going to be able to grow your business. That's why you do it while you can, you know. And those are the blessings. Those are the blessings that are waiting for you. And you have to know it, you know, have that vision. Have that vision that it is going to happen. Even when I'm having a bad day, you know, I said, this isn't where I'm going to be. This isn't where I'm going. I'm going up, you know, it's going to get way better. You know, I'm always very positive about that. And I know it, you know what I mean? I know it's not going to be right. The way it is, even if I'm not having a good day feeling wise, right. If I'm not feeling sick, like it's not going to continue to be like, I am going to get better. And I'm positive about it. It's not even like one thing that like, like, oh, I'm not sure. No, I know it's going to get better, you know, because I'm getting better every day. You know, you have a choice, you know, you have a choice if you want to stay where you're at. And that's one thing that we are very blessed to have is choice in life. And so you make that decision. And when you decide that, hey, it's too tough for me, well, that's your decision. You've decided that. That's your choice. You know, you made that decision for yourself. It's not ever too tough for you unless you decide it is, or it's never not, you know, going good unless you decide it is. You have a choice to make it go good or not. You know, there's things that you can't control in life. Like I couldn't control some of the things that happened to me, right? But I knew that there was things I could control, and I knew that I had a choice in how I was going to react, and I knew I had a choice that I wasn't going to continue to be sick, and I'm going to get better, you know. So you always have a choice.
Awesome. And I just want to say also that when I was looking at your videos, I was quite encouraged because I know that I was watching your hitting L3 video. I don't remember that you were on the bike, and I think it was Jeff asking you what does it feel to hit L3, and I was very encouraged because I know you started in 2010, you got L3 in 2013, and I'm really encouraged because I'm on that kind of same track, which is very encouraging for me. So I just want to say thank you for that. I got really inspired watching that video. So thank you so much. And Katie, do you want to ask anything?
Actually, I have a couple of things to say. First of all, hi April. So I just sitting here learning a lot about what you have said, April. I've learned a lot about you, and I have a feeling that you remind me a lot of me. So have you ever taken the Strength Finder test? Have you ever heard of that? Have you ever taken it?
You know, I've taken a lot of tests. I don't know if it's the exact test you're talking about, but maybe. Okay. I don't know.
Okay, well, one thing that I realized that you probably are is what's called an includer. So you like to include people and kind of take the limelight off of you and just kind of edify other people. And I just wanted to go through my top 5 of the Strength Finder real quick. And it reminds me a lot of you too, is like an includer, harmony, adaptability, positivity, and belief. So I'm curious if you ever come across that and you want to take that Strength Finder test to see what your top 5 is. And I think that's going to be, I think includer is going to be your number 1, because you want to help people feel good about themselves and feel comfortable. And I think it's dead on. And while you're hitting L3 in 2013, I was actually Googling what is a blog so I could write my first blog of what a blog was.
Wow.
I think that's so fun. And then also, I was also in the cocktail business as well. So I think my most favorite spot that I was in for 3 years was working at the VFW. So that was a lot of fun to work with all this, you know, the vets and all that other stuff. So, but still, I didn't want to do that anymore. So that's why I did the online thing and just did that. So I think that's awesome. There is a question that I have for you is, being that you're a single mom, you had 3 kids, we do have a couple of moms that are watching, and if you can give them a tip, they're not single. However, they do their kids happen to somehow know that whenever they're going on a live or whenever they got to cut a video or do something, they're always bursting in the room to like do something and have mom, 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 mom. Can you give them a good tip on how to kind of handle that? Do you include them into the marketing, or you just kind of schedule it where they know that it's mommy time?
Yeah, I included them. I mean, if you go back to way back when I had my kids, I was throwing them up in the air and everything. I mean, we did videos. I mean, I actually think there was a marketing video, I don't know if it's still out there, that MLSP has for mastery with my daughter picking her nose in the background. And I am serious. I don't know if Brian still has that out there, but it was like a testimony I had to give on one of the mastery things. And I remember my little girl back going, I'm like, okay, just leave it. It's okay. You know, I think that's a part of attraction marketing in a way too, because you're going to attract your tribe, right? So people that are like you, and they're looking to you because they're like, I want to be like you. You know, most people will join you, partner with you, whatever you want to call it in your business, because they want what you have. So if you're online and you're playing with your kids and you're having fun and they're out slaving away at their job and they're like, man, I wish I could be, you know, Katie or, you know, whoever, April Marie or whoever, right? That's what they're thinking. So, you know, I think include them. I've always been like that anyways. Of course, I know if you're doing like a serious webinar or something like that, you might want to tuck them into bed or chain them to the bed or something. You know, we use Velcro around here, duct tape, you know. But that's about the only time I would say, you know, and I have loud barking dogs too. I heard your dogs in the background. I think it was, yeah, James. Is it James, right? I heard your dogs back there. I have a really big boxer, 110-pound. He's just unusually sized, big, and he barks like, and we call him Thor, so he is God of Thunder, and he barks like really loud. So,
and he's a lap dog too, right? He's a lap dog too, right?
He is, yes. He the other day, you know, I had, you know, I bought like little mats so they don't get on my couch. They're called scat mats. And the other day he forgot, like he just thought he could just come up and he just come in my lap. And I'm like, no, you're not allowed to. But of course, he's so cute. I couldn't like kick him off because he's being so cuddly and cute. But yeah, I just don't like him on my couches when we're, you know, sometimes he likes to get up there and put his drool and stuff on there. But yeah, he was really cute. He forgets too. And he sneaks. He's a little sneak. He's smart.
Awesome. And Jamie, you want to ask something?
Yeah, sure. But before I ask my question, you know, it's really cool, you know, that people don't realize how down to earth the leaders are. You know, April grew up in Traverse City, Michigan. I was stationed in Oscoda, Michigan, which is just on the other side of the state of Traverse City. You know, and she said she was in Illinois. I'm in Illinois. I'm about an hour and 20 minutes from Springfield, Illinois. And, you know, and I drive that hour and 20 minutes to Springfield every day, and I put mindset stuff in my brain. So I educate myself all the time. But the question I want to ask is, when did you realize that Instagram was going to be your vehicle to build your business around?
I actually didn't realize it until so back when, this is funny because I'm still like not on Instagram. Like my sister's like, I'm canceling my Facebook and you can find me over on Instagram. My sister is like 5 years younger than me. And so I'm like, what is Instagram? This was like, I can't remember. It was years ago. And I'm like, what is it? So that's when I finally like looked at Instagram, and then I was like looking at it. And I still wasn't like really sure because, you know, you're learning something new. And I'm one of these, I'm a blue. So I'm pretty much like, I'm pretty fast. I'm ADD. I'm like not like focused on it yet at this point. But I kept going back to it. And I guess finally I started like playing with it because I realized that there wasn't anybody really over there. Like nobody was really focused on it yet. And I was like, there's a huge opportunity for me. I could grow like really fast if I could figure this out. So I went over there, I just started playing around just here and there, you know, and then I started realizing it was so easy to grow your following. And I was like, this is way better than Twitter. This is way better than Facebook. I'm like, and they didn't have all these rules either. So, you know, things were like, it was prime. And I just started going for it. And I started generating leads really fast. And so that's kind of how it all started, but I didn't really know anything about it. Like my sister really kind of turned me on just to even joining it. And, you know, I didn't have that same reaction with Snapchat or any of those, you know, any of the other ones like that. I just like Instagram just really for me because, you know, I am more introverted and stuff like that. So I was like, I could just put up these little images. This is really cool. Like if I could just put up these little images and I can attract leads, that's like really easy. And that's also something I could do really easy with my kids and my life because I have a busy life and busy team. I got business, right, to be done. So for me, it just became a really simple strategy. And then I love teaching it because it is simple. Like for me, I like to uncomplicate things for people. I don't like teaching complicated complicated. Like we used to teach blogging and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, try to get people to duplicate blogging. Oh my gosh. And it was so like, people just weren't, you know, going to stick with that like I was, you know what I mean? Not as many anyways. So when I found Instagram and I realized how easy it was, and I could teach other people how easy it was, I was like, okay, this is it. So that's when I really started focusing over there.
I know that, there's 10 minutes to the hour. We don't want to keep you waiting for your training session that you have at 9 o'clock. So we just wanted to say thank you so much for spending some time with us. And we really do appreciate it. I know I do. And you've inspired me to work on other areas. And
let me show you my L3 award.
Oh, yeah, cool.
I have my L3 award. Let's see. This was Live the Dream. Is that 4? I don't know. I don't know how to read those things. That's the L3 award. A lot different than what they are now. We had different awards. I actually still have I was in L2 at my very first Live the Dream. So my very first Live the Dream, but it's in a case because it actually got broke. My kids broke it, but
Cool.
So yeah, I still keep all that stuff. You can see the honey badger still up there, and I still have my. Did you guys ever see my L6?
No.
All right.
This is exciting.
Okay, because you can see it. Can you guys see that, guys?
That's right. I remember seeing that he was sharing all of those. That's funny.
Yeah. Because you got me. It's at the casino. You got Todd there carrying the tray. He's a cocktail server. Yeah, it was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah. So I keep all my awards and my accolades. So, all right, guys. Well, it was so much fun. Thank you. It was so good to hang out with you guys. I like to hang out. It's fun.
We would love it if you would come back maybe one time and do a little training for us on Instagram. That would be amazing. Just more, because if anybody is interested who's watching this replay, we've actually got April Marie Tucker's Instamagic on the right hand side. You can go ahead and click that and get on that course if you would like it. But we would certainly love you to come back and perhaps as a guest on our workshop maybe that we have on a Saturday one day in the future. I know you're pretty busy and you've got stuff happening. So,
yeah, well, I would be happy to do something like that. I mean, we could just do a quick training even. I mean, Instagram's so easy. To me, it's like, I mean, it's not complicated. I could show you some complicated stuff if you want, but no, I don't usually go into the complicated. We usually stick to the basics, and it's such an easy recipe. 3 steps, that's it.
Awesome. So, thank you so much, April. And,
yeah, definitely. Thanks, guys.
We will right now we will say goodbye because it's probably a good idea to end off early, but thank you so much for coming here. We will see you same time next week, and don't forget we've got a whole bunch of hangouts that happen tomorrow with Katie, because Katie is running tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then we got Rock and Rick at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then we have Maria at 4 p.m. Eastern. We got Wisdom Wednesday on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Man, we got a whole bunch of them. And then we got Jamie's Hangout, which is on Thursday, and our workshop at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you'd like to get on that. Click on the link below and you can get started today. Thank you so much, April. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye. We're still live. We're still live. We're still live.